The Chicago Bulls came into day 2 of the 2026 NBA draft with 2 second-round picks at pick number 38 and pick number 56. But the Chicago Bulls traded both picks away, and all they have to show for it is a second-year player from the Indiana Pacers. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go to get into this content for today, y'all. So the Chicago Bulls came into day 2 of the NBA draft with 2 second-round picks and a chance to get a shot at a number of players. But they walked out of this with no draft picks in this draft at all, after selling away pick number 56 for cash considerations. When pick number 38 came on the board, the Chicago Bulls technically drafted Braden Smith out of Purdue, a 5'10 point guard who is a shooting specialist, but turned around and immediately traded him to the Indiana Pacers for Kam Jones, a guy who was drafted at pick number 38 in the second round of the 2025 draft. Now, Kam Jones had nothing really done. He played in 37 games last year for the Indiana Pacers, averaged 16 minutes over that time. He shot the ball 40% from the field, 29% from three, and averaged 4.4 points per game. Now, this was a 4-year player at Marquette, where he averaged over the course of his 4-year collegiate career 14.9 points, 47% shooting from the field, 36% shooting from three, to go along with 3 rebounds, 2.9 assists, and 1.5 steals per game over his collegiate career. His last year in college was his best year. 19 points. He did that on 48% shooting from the field, 31% shooting from three, to go along with 4.5 rebounds, 6 assists per game, 1.4 steals per game as well, and only 1.9 turnovers. Now, some could make the case that maybe, with everybody being off the board, the Chicago Bulls looked at this and said, let's go with a more proven commodity and talent. But to me, this just feels like asset relocation. And maybe just at this point where the Bulls drafted, they weren't happy with the names that were still on the board for the Chicago Bulls. And that could be what we're looking at when it comes down to this one. But overall, as it stands right now, the Chicago Bulls don't seem like they're going to get back into the second round of this draft either. So the Bulls draft is out. Henry Vasseur is still on the board, falling out the top 40. This is a guy that a lot of Bulls fans would have liked to see that were considering the Bulls drafting in the first round. And the Bulls looked at that and said, no, we're good on that. So when you look at the way that the draft board fell today and in round 2 and how the players came off of it, Richie Saunders off the board before the Bulls picked. Isaiah Evans off the board before the Bulls picked. Malik Thomas off the board before the Bulls picked. Trevon Brazile off the board before the Bulls picked. And Baba Miller as well, off of the board. And Ryan Conwell all off the board before the Chicago Bulls picked. And the Bulls had to really not be enamored with Henry Vasseur at all to completely pass up on him. They didn't even want him to potentially be a G League player for them. I can't wait to hear Bryson Graham and his explanation on this. But coming into the second round with, some exciting prospects potentially on the board, unfortunately, most of the best prospects came off the board before the Chicago Bulls could pick. And then the Bulls didn't show a level of aggression about moving up and getting any of these guys, which to me kind of tells me, and this is completely speculation on my part, is that that Bryson Graham wasn't enamored with anybody in this second round, or maybe he had one player that was on his board, that player came off, or all those players came off if it was multiple of them, so he just traded out of it. And that's what we did in regards to this, and that's really what it looks like. The Chicago Bulls, the exact trade details is the Bulls, they trade the 38th pick in this draft, right, to the Indiana Pacers for Kam Jones, future pick swaps, and cash. So the Bulls now walk away from, now they do have future pick swaps, which is good, but they walk away from the second round, and they get more cash back than players out of the second round. And, I know that's going to be triggering for a lot of Bulls fans. I can't blame you guys in regards to that. It's a little bit frustrating, but I still think the Bulls had a really solid draft, in round 1 with Dalen Swain and with Caleb Williams, and that's perfectly fine. But it is going to raise some questions on what the Bulls didn't even want to take a shot on somebody. But hey, Bryson Graham, his first year running the Chicago Bulls, he continues to put his imprint on this team. and to see what this team is going to look like and continue to develop into. But as things stand right now, the Bulls look like they're done in the second round of this draft, and that's just the reality of it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you feel like this is a missed opportunity at all for the Chicago Bulls? Are you a little bit disappointed that the Bulls weren't more aggressive about potentially using both their picks to move up and making sure that they got one of these guys that they like? Does this feel a little bit too passive to you? I know a lot of Bulls fans had some issues and concerns after passing up on Cam Carr, even though I think as you do more research, Dalen Swain is probably going to be the better player, at least initially. But yeah, it's just underwhelming is what I'll say. It's underwhelming. But like I said, coming into this draft, me personally, I'm going to give faith to Bryson Graham in this first year until he gives me something or a reason to not believe in him. And I can't say that, trading out of what, depending on who is left and other teams that have passed on Henry Vasseur as well, I can't say to me personally that it feels like he's missed yet. But hey, we know that with drafts, sometimes you don't get the full picture on a draft until years later down the road. So let's see what happens with it. But I want to hear from you guys. How do you feel about what the Bulls did in the second round today? Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at Bull Central Pod on every social media platform. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of Breaks.